Hello everyone and welcome to the first of the series of Train Sim World 2 videos. I'm just going to call it Train Sim World. So firstly I have to apologise. I temporarily posted a review which is no longer on my channel, which was a horrible review. I apologise. That was just because I was having a bad day. But this is a really in-depth simulation. I really like the German stock on it. So today, as you probably read in the title of this video, you're going to learn, if you like, how to drive an IC3M with the original cab properly. By properly I mean the best way I know. So I've gathered reference from videos I've taken myself, as well as videos on the internet of how you're meant to drive these things. Also mixing a bit with Spanish procedure on these machines, which is, I presume, quite similar to what you're meant to do on DB railways. So it might not be spot on, or I might see something that's completely wrong, but in theory I'm doing it the way I know best. Right, so without further ado, welcome to Cologne. Let's load in. So, as you're all aware, this is a cab of an IC3M, which is very similar to the IC3. It's basically the same thing. So this does not cover real life operations. This is real life taken into train simulator. So first thing you want to do, because this video is going to include safety systems, you want to turn on all your safety systems. In real life they would have already been turned on. Being SiFa, PZB and LZB. In real life you'd also have to turn on ETCS, but for the purposes of this video, only these three can be turned on, and as I said, they should be turned on by default, but they're not. That's to do with playability of the simulator. Let's not go into that now. So now all your safety systems are on, you can sit down, and you can set the reverser to forwards. This acts like a sort of cab master key switch. It does some self-tests. The next thing you want to do is, in real life, you check what catenary you're on, because these can operate on various catenaries, being these: DBB, OBB 15 kV, Swiss Railways 15 kV, Dutch Railways 1.5 kV and 25 kV, and then SNCB, which is Belgian Railways, and SNCF, which is French Railways, LGV, and also various different DC and AC configurations. The next thing you want to do is raise your pantograph if this says HS house and you've got no line, so you raise your pantograph. That should take some time to come on. And that comes on when the pantograph is touched. And then you can close the main circuit breaker and all the fans and air conditioning will activate. Then you want to press Belüftung, which does the saloon lights. As you can see at the minute, the saloon lights are off. Unrealistic from a service that's come from Frankfurt, but still. So you press Belüftung, I don't know how to say any German, and your saloon lights turn on. Next thing, your destination again would have already been set, but you have to set it up yourself. Let's go press UD twice. And let me just check something, guys. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So then you press enter, and then you choose the destination you want. So click enter, then you click the destination you want, which in our case is Bruxelles Midi. Press enter, ED. There you go. Now you can open the doors, which is using either that switch to select the side, and then you can either do this and release them, or you can just directly open them using that switch. You also have to, when you're stationary, you're meant to set your brakes to 1B. More in real life, they have an opaque control, which lets them do that, but usually they have it off. You can also, if you want, turn on your air conditioning. We're gonna have it on 3. Then you're meant to turn on your AFB to speed set with the lever, which is by pressing sticks, and then you can go back to the main menu. There you go. And then when you're ready to lock the doors, you can lock the doors by setting that to the up position. So now we can proceed to lock the doors. Right, the next thing you're going to want to do is check your AFB and set it to the line speed / 40 kilometers an hour. Right, here's a bit of an explanation. Let's set that back to 0. Right, in real life, if you're just called at a station, you're meant to keep your AFB on at all times. So say you've just pulled into the station like this, you stopped, and you meant to set it to 0 whilst keeping it on. You open your doors, and then once you're ready to depart, you set it to line speed. If you have just taken control of this cab, PZB start program will be active, which will limit you to 45 kilometers an hour, but it is usual to keep you 5 kilometers under to avoid stops. So we're going to set it to 40 kilometers an hour, which also, coincidentally, is the line speed. We can release the brakes and proceed to accelerate gently. As you can see, now the PZB will start flashing 75, 85, 70, 85. This is called the PZB start program, and it's designed to hold you underneath 45 kilometers an hour. If you exceed 45 kilometers an hour, it will give you a train stop. If the next signal is clear, like that one, and you haven't got a red signal, you are allowed to release this and turn it off by pressing this middle button on the PZB controls, which is on, if you're on PC, it is the end key on your keyboard. SiFa. You press that, it says acknowledged, and now start program is over. Your next speed limit is line speed, and if line speed is greater than 160 and you have not got LZB, then 160 kilometers an hour. The next thing is to check if you have, in the Training World there's a bug, but that B should be lit up, indicating LZB is ready to be activated. Every 30 seconds the SiFa alarm will periodically go off, like now. SiFa. You have to press Q to reset it. If you don't want to hear the annoying SiFa alarm, keep an eye out on the SiFa indicator, which will light up before it makes a sound, so that you haven't got to hear the dreadful sound. Our next line speed is 60 kilometers an hour, so we're going to let the unit accelerate faster. And also, because it's quite a bright day, I'm going to bring my blind down a bit. Also, I apologise if the simulator's stuttery when I record, but it's just because I'm recording. Usually I can run it at 100 FPS. Right. So now you should be able to see the SiFa indicator the next time it comes up. As we approach LZB, the B will change to U and the PZB will switch off, and your line speed is now the train's maximum speed. Then you proceed to set AFB to your maximum speed of the train, not line speed. Well, you can, but you might set it to maximum speed of 330 kilometers an hour. Now there is a sign there which indicates LZB commence, which means LZB is now active. There it is. You're going to go to buzzer, PZB is going to turn off, U light will come on, and the LZB indicator will turn on. There you go. You're still in manual control of the train. If you want to, you can set your AFB to maximum speed, in this case 330 kilometers an hour, giving the train full control over itself. The only thing you will now have to do is periodically keep an eye on the SiFa and press Q. Like there. The train is essentially now in full control of itself. If there is a red signal, it will slow down. If there is a green signal, it will go, and it will also adapt to speed limits. The next one we're going to have a look at is your LZB display. This indicates the next lowest speed limit it will apply to, which is 140 kilometers an hour VZL's target speed. That red indicator is your current target speed, which currently is 140 kilometers an hour. This is your LZB distance indicator. This tells you when your next lower speed limit is. The LZB machine has a range of 14 kilometers. Therefore, if you see a constant display of 9,900, it indicates that it's more than 10 kilometers away. If that disappears and slowly this bar is dropping, it's because it's within the actual analog control. Over here we have the power brake indicator that is automatically set by LZB as it's in automatic train control. As you see, the line speed is currently 160 kilometers an hour, and that is the target speed. But once the rear of the train passes through the 250 kilometer an hour mark, the train will be able to accelerate faster. As you can see, the SiFa alarm hasn't been going off, but because that light has been illuminating or flashing up, I've been resetting the pedal. There you go. Line speed has now increased to 250 kilometers an hour. Next lowest line speed being 160 at Duran plus 9k. If there is a reduction, say because of a red signal, it will inform you with a buzzer and will tell you the next target speed and how far away it is if it's under 10 kilometers. You see the SiFa's lit up, but it hasn't said anything, so I just reset it. In Germany, you're not meant to use your horn unless it's an emergency, so you can't have a quick toot. You can't have a quick toot. As you can see, the train's currently driving itself, adapting itself to any possible speed changes it may have. The only thing you have to do is keep an eye on the speed that LZB is functioning correctly, and that and the SiFa. As you can see, even though I've set my speed limit at the AFB to 330 kilometers an hour, LZB is automatically controlling that, as well as the whole train system, to hold me at 250 kilometers an hour. If whilst not on LZB, or in any circumstance, the AFB can never be set to anything. Right, so if you're in manual control of the train, AFB cannot be set over 160 kilometers an hour. You can drive over that speed. On LZB, it will automatically regulate your speed up to a maximum set by AFB or a maximum set by itself if you set it to its full range of speed. If you're under PZB and you exceed 165 kilometers an hour, you'll get a G indicating you must slow down. When you hit 170 kilometers an hour, you'll get an emergency braking application, which you can release when you're 20 kilometers an hour under that 160 kilometer an hour mark. As we pull it, after we've ended the LZB section, I will also show you how to drive under manual control, how you're meant to operate this train, and how to exit out of LZB/AFB control. That cable in the middle of the tracks is what the train uses to read LZB. That's the LZB cable. And it's what indicates to the train what it's got to do and how it detects if there's a red signal. That is a PZB magnet. So that is LZB, that is PZB. Difference being, LZB is a constant control because it is a constant wire, whilst PZB, well, first thing is LZB is not on all the network, whilst PZB is. And PZB is an intermittent control at signals, not during the not throughout the whole route. Bug, but anyway. Other trains that do not feature AFB haven't got the possibility for automatic train control. Therefore, you must regulate the speed according to LZB's instructions. At this point, you can see that my upcoming target speed is going to be 200 kilometers an hour. And the LZB will start counting down. And it will automatically adjust to that speed limit. But that means it's still within 14 kilometers. From 9.9 kilometers to 14 kilometers, which is the non-visual LZB detection range. As you can see, I'm keeping on pressing SiFa. The odd time it does actually do the voice. And we will shortly be approaching the 200 km/h zone, in which we will then transition down to 160. As you can now see, my LZB counter is descending. That means that 200 speed limit is within that distance, and LZB will automatically adjust thanks to my AFB being turned on. So that is indicating the distance in which LZB will slow down to that next speed limit / red signal if your target speed is 0 kilometers an hour. Once it reaches 4,000 meters, it will disappear and it will start counting down on this light bar until it reaches 0. And once you pass the speed limit, it will give you an LZB buzzer to indicate so. LZB is the most simple of PZB and of the German safety systems other than SiFa, but with PZB you're also in good hands. And it's with PZB, as you'll see as you will see shortly, it's not all about acknowledging signals. It's also about keeping an eye on your speed. So 4,500 kilometers, 400,400 in 200 meters, the display will disappear and it will go onto this bar. Go. Now it disappears and the bar starts counting down. As you can see shortly, LZB will command the train to go into braking. So this is power, that is brake. It will command the train to start braking. There you go. Any moment now. You can see it's bringing back the power. There you go. And it's now braking. To adjust to your next speed limit of 200 kilometers an hour. That G that's illuminated means a braking curve. It's not a track curve. A braking curve is a mathematical curve in which the train brakes at the best rate in order to keep passenger comfort at the highest and hit the 200 km/h speed limit exactly where it is. So the train intelligently calculates when it's got to slow down and at what rate, so that it precisely hits 200. As you can see, it's perfect. 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to get the LZB buzzer because the countdown is 0. My next LZB speed limit is 160, but it's under 4 kilometers, so it's automatically not even showing up the display at the top. It's just go on the bar countdown. And again, LZB shortly will illuminate the G, indicating a braking curve down to 160 kilometers an hour, and will slow down itself. And then we'll get a warning, which means end of LZB soon. Note, just because you can't operate over 160 kilometers on PZB doesn't mean LZB does not operate under 160. You can have a junction at 20 kilometers an hour and the LZB will be in control if it's LZB equipped track. LZB is in complete control except for when you're stopped, in which case you will have to reset your power handle and then apply power again to get it moving if LZB has stopped you at a red signal. So this is Düren, which is the halfway point between Cologne and Aachen. Now LZB is going to, there you go, it's now on a braking curve down to 160, as you can see. Now LZB is going to give me a warning, and it's going to go Ender, and it's going to go Super Einflussung. And that Ender yellow warning is going to come up, and I'm going to have to press the PZB/LZB release again with my End key. And then we will have to do another step for the end of LZB. Now we confirm End, we shut down our throttle, and we go into the AFB screen on our management system. Now LZB will shortly end, and we will transition into PZB signalling. Keep an eye, your throttle is on 0. You can apply a bit of power, but when you're going to do the transition out of LZB and turn off AFB and turn it on again, it's really important that you have your power set to 0. This is the end of LZB. PZB has commenced. LZB is now off, so now you want to turn off your AFB, set it to 0, max speed, turn it on again, and then set it to your line speed, which in this case is 160 kilometers an hour, and then you can reapply power. Now you've got to keep an eye on the signals, because you are now in manual control of the train, and therefore you will have to slow down yourself for red signals and acknowledge any possible cautionary aspects and speed limits lower than 100 kilometers an hour. So as you can see, that is AFB's max setting under PZB, 160 kilometers an hour. You must never slow down using AFB. You can only slow down using your brake handle, which I'll show you how to do shortly. Before we start getting cautionary aspects, you will be able to see that PZB and LZB have got 3 controls: Waksam, Fry and Befehl. So Waksam means acknowledge, Fry means release, and Befehl means override. Which translates into, when you pass a red signal, you hit the Waksam key with your next page, or whatever it is, the key next to your End key, and then with your pause key you hit Befehl. So I'm going to do a demonstration. That would be Befehl. Is that one? That would be Befehl. And that would be Fry. And that would be Waksam. With PZB, what you have to acknowledge is, after passing a signal at any aspect other than green, which doesn't apply to some kind of special yellow signals. So this PZB signal does not require to be acknowledged. This explanation only covers PZB mode O. I will hopefully in future do an explanation which also will cover PZB mode M and U, but not in this video, as we are driving an ICE to the M, which has been hardwired to O mode, which is the highest setting of them regarding speeds. So as you can see, my max speed under PZB is 160, as I have said many times, because that is max speed PZB permits, as well as line speed. With PZB, you must also acknowledge any yellow triangle boards that indicate lower speed limits than 100 kilometers an hour, not included 100 kilometers an hour. I'll run you through it when we get to one. Which doesn't mean you don't have to slow down for them. If you get a 120 sign, it means you have to slow down quickly, because of some kind of special magnets that they will detect if you're 5 kilometers over the speed limit and give you an emergency stop, which is unresettable until you come to a stop and press PZB release and get going again, which is not desirable. So those things there, next to the signals, those little yellow things on the track, that is a PZB magnet, which is what PZB uses. It's almost like an AWS one, but it works completely differently, of course. So we have shortly got a 120 km/h speed limit. So standard procedure is about 2.5 kilometers away. You turn off your throttle and you do not use AFB to slow down. So you don't set AFB to a lower speed limit and let it do the work for you. You shut off the power and slow down using your train brake, not the AFB handle. At a comfortable rate, doesn't have to be constant, but you aim to be at the speed 800 meters before the speed limit applies. Once you reach your target speed, you can readjust AFB and apply power again for it to hold you at that speed. As you can see, I am now coming down. That is your indicator, 12. That did not need to be acknowledged because it's not under 100. Now, this is very important. You keep an eye out now. So we're coming up to the 120 km/h speed limit. We're under 125, so we're safe from those magnets there. There is a double magnet, 2 consecutive magnets like those there. If you're travelling over 105 limits over the speed, 5 kilometers over the speed limit, that will give you a train stop. So now we can readjust our speed set and reapply power. As you can see, in 3 kilometers again, we've got 110 km/h speed limits, which we will reset for as well. Also, always keeping into mind that those magnets, those double consecutive magnets, are the ones that will give you a PZB stop if you haven't slowed down by the time the signal applies. Those there. Those are the PZB speed control magnets. It's doing the bug again. Right, so now I'm going to throttle off again. As well, LZB should be showing a B, meaning it's off, and that 85 is correct. And now we're going to apply some braking, light braking down to 110. And then once we reach 110, release the brakes. Then it coasts down to 110. Set the speed set. Don't know why it's done that. There was the yellow triangle for 110. And now it can hold 110. And I'll point out the double magnets again, from which you have to be under 115 by. It's especially stressful with freight trains that take a long time to slow down. They don't always have double magnets, but they usually tend to. Maybe we went past them and didn't see them, but they're exactly the same as the other ones I showed you. And what you are allowed to do with AFB though is if you have an increased speed limit, you don't have to turn off your power, you just raise it. What is definitely forbidden though is to do that when slowing down. You're meant to do it with your train brake to provide the comfiest stop or slash speed reduction for the passengers. As you can see, your last signals up to now have been full greens, which is good. I'm not also going into the different types of signals because that's more complicated stuff that's not going to be covered in this scenario, in this video, not the scenario. So now we have 140 km/h speed limit upcoming, indicated by a 14 board, which we will just passed. And now we'll be able to set our AFB to 140 and speed up. These procedures should be very similar on the IC3 included with Hauptstrecke München Augsburg, but I don't own that yet, so I can't show you it. Also, it's got a main digital display instead of two dials like these. Now, at the next signal, I will also show you the types of magnets. So at this signal, as you can see, there's a magnet there. That is a 2000 Hz magnet / 1000 Hz. 1000 Hz indicates it will turn on when the signal is displaying a cautionary aspect, while 2000 Hz will turn on when the signal is at danger, giving you a stop. Also, if the signal is cleared, that magnet will turn off. 250 meters before each signal, depends on each signal, sometimes they are closer. You will also get some magnets which are 500 Hz magnets, like these, that one there, which is for when you are coming up to a red, it will turn on and limits you to 25 kilometers an hour, all which I will demonstrate as we pull into Aachen. So now we're approaching an 120 km an hour speed limit. We're going to shut off power again. I'm going to give it a little dab of brake. So we can comfortably come down to that speed limit. There we go. Nicely does it. Just a light 1A brake application has done the trick. As you can see, that signal is flashing. Doesn't need acknowledging yet. We're now down to 120, so we're going to adjust our AFB. Now we will have to commence acknowledging signals shortly, because we are coming into Aachen. So as you can see, that speed limit is displaying 10, so it still doesn't need acknowledging. But now we have to reduce to 100 kilometers an hour. Which we're going to do a bit swiftly. There you go, because there's the double magnet. Let's adjust our AFB. This signal is displaying a 4, which needs to be acknowledged because it's under 100. You acknowledge it pressing the PZB acknowledged. Now you will have to check that that is displaying 1000 Hz 85 flashing. That means you have to slow down to 85 kilometers an hour, preferably 80. But anyway, we have a 70 km an hour speed limit upcoming, so we've got to slow down further than that anyway. Just passed another yellow signal. It wasn't showing, but there was a yellow signal. There's another signal which we're going to have to press. This, not this one. These don't apply. These are repeaters. It's the actual main signal that you need to acknowledge, because those don't have magnets. So this one needs to be acknowledged because it's got a 4 on it. And again, 1000 Hz. Now you have to slow down to 40 kilometers an hour, which isn't controlled by PZB. PZB only monitors you're under 85 until we come within the red, and then I'll show you the next step. This signal does not need to be acknowledged. It's the upcoming one. As you can see, I'm gradually, not genuinely, adjusting my AFB to the speed we are travelling at. Not our speed, but the line speed. This signal needs to be acknowledged because it is a cautionary aspect, main signal. As you can see, that's the 100 Hz, 1000 Hz magnet that will now display again. As we go over it, it will refresh. There you go. Now, as we come in within the red signal, 200 meters before to 250 meters before, there will be a 500 Hz magnet. The only requirement for this is you're travelling under 45 kilometers an hour, and you slow down to 25 kilometers an hour after passing it. That's it. So I'm just going to get some light brakes going. As you can see, when we pass it, I'll tell you when we pass it. That is the magnet there. When we pass it, that's 1000 Hz will change to this red 500 Hz, which does not need acknowledging. The only thing it needs is for you to keep under 25 kilometers an hour. There you go. It will now change to 500. There you go. And now we can stop at the H sign, meaning halt, which is stop.
SiFa. SiFa.
There we go. Now you set your AFB to 0, brakes to 1B, and you can open your doors. Except we're not going to do that because of the way Train Simulator works. What I'm going to do is I am going to open this door over here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to do it properly. Right. So, in real life, if you're going to continue service, you keep your AFB on 0, close your doors, and then proceed, checking the next signal is clear and everything. At 25 kilometers an hour, monitoring, because that's now started to flash. If the signal's green, you pass it, monitoring will clear, and so will 500 Hertz. And then you can speed up to whatever PZB indicates, being if it's flashing the 2 blue lights, 45, if it's not, 160/line speed. If you're leaving control of the train, I think, this is the bit I've got least knowledge about, you're meant to open the doors, then you're meant to turn off AFB. Then the thing about putting the key into neutral is that it turns the headlights from headlights into tail lights. But it's the only way of turning off the cab. Then you would also release your brake valve, turn off your air conditioning. And in real life you wouldn't, but in Train Sim World you have to turn off your safety systems either way. Either that or the simulator will go berserk if you carry on free roam rather than exiting. Now what I'm also going to do, which isn't prototypical in real life of course, is lock all the doors. Because I won't be able to get out if not. Just going to calmly exit the train. As you can see, if you're interested in your points, driving with those safety systems on will give you an automatic gold medal, and because you just keep to the line speeds really well and stop where you're meant to. So I hope that has provided a comprehensive guide on how to more or less realistically. I didn't turn the. You should also technically put your sun visor back up there anyway. I hope that's given you a more or less comprehensive guide on how to drive the IC3M in Train Sim World, at least the one with a classic cab. I hope you've enjoyed this video / found it informative. Please leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I hope this has been helpful. Bye.